पर्सनल रीजन है तो बता दें।
So Dr. Uditi, I could not start the recording on YouTube. I don't know why it is not taking in, but I'm recording this session and I'll upload and share the recording with you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So if you wish to say something, you can please go ahead if you wish to interact with the students.
No, ma'am, please go ahead. Actually, beach mein, I was just acting as a filler.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah. So Jayant, आप कुछ और भी पूछ रहे थे? Go ahead, please. And I think then Hardik has a question to ask.
Ma'am, I was asking that at many times life seems monotonous to us, and particularly for me, that point becomes a source of depression. So how can I avoid that? Yes.
Jayant, अब देखो जो आपने बोला ना, वो इतनी तेजी में बोला कि मुझे समझ नहीं आया. So when we speak, we have to always remember that my speed of speaking should be, slow so that others can comfortably understand. ठीक है? तो ये भी एक अच्छा मौका है. देखो हम बातचीत कर रहे हैं तो we are getting a chance to understand where we need to improve. तो अब जो आपने कहा थोड़ा कम स्पीड पर बोलो ताकि मुझे अच्छे से समझ आ सके.
Ma'am, I was saying that at times life seems monotonous. Because there is no joy of it. So how can I avoid that phase?
Excellent. So Jayant, I think again you have touched a very important point. Medicine as such is slightly dry subject than other subjects because it's a very serious subject. You are dealing with life and death. You are preparing yourself to deal with life and death. But at the same time, don't make your life dull by keeping your hobbies on. So आपके जो भी शौक है, अगर किसी को पेंटिंग पसंद है, डांस पसंद है, थिएटर पसंद है, डिबेटिंग पसंद है, राइटिंग पसंद है, पोइट्री पसंद है, जो भी आपकी हॉबीज हैं, you all must pursue your hobbies because that will bring flavor to your life, that will bring change to your life. Of course, your primary focus will be on your studies and your preparation for medicine, but at the same time, to break monotony, you definitely need to follow your passion. You need to follow your hobbies. Stay connected with your friends. Have an element of entertainment in your life. How much, that you have to very cautiously decide, because if you slightly get more towards entertainment, your studies will get affected. So you will have to really learn to balance between the two. But yes, entertainment, relaxation, hobbies, following your passion will definitely help you break monotony. I hope that helps you, Jayant.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So any more questions from your side?
Ma'am, one more question. When we were discussing the point of anxiety and nervousness, you said we have to be prepared and practice. But there are situations when we are not prepared, and the situations comes beforehand. So how, for that situation, how can I increase my confidence level?
See, if for most of the situations you are preparing yourself, so automatically there is inbuilt confidence to deal with diverse situations that you have not planned or you were never not prepared for. But that confidence will automatically come in place. See, a lot of time I go prepared with something in my mind. Okay, this is what we are going to do in the program or in this session. But actually in this session, things are very different from what I have planned for. But if my overall subject knowledge and confidence is in place, your intelligence will come handy. It will give you an idea how to deal with that unforeseen or unplanned situation. That's the role of intelligence. The experience gets transferred, the knowledge gets transferred, the confidence gets transferred. So if you will prepare yourself for a couple of situations, as a result, you'll be able to deal with a lot of situations. The focus has to be start preparing yourself. Rather than working on others, work on yourself. Build your personality, build your character, build you as a person, and you will see yourself evolving as a beautiful human being. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Hardik, you have a question. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, is it good to have a passive nature for a person?
Sorry, it is.
Is it good to have a passive nature? Means एक पर्सन है उसका नेचर पैसिव है तो वो अपना लॉस भी तो कर सकता है कुछ पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट्स पे अपने इंटरेस्ट जो है वो निग्लेक्ट हो जाएंगे रिलेशनशिप्स मेंटेन करने की वजह से. So is it good to have passive nature?
I don't think it is advisable to have a passive nature. Although if you are thinking passive as being introvert, there are people who are very focused. They don't socialize much. They like to be, focusing on a couple of things, and they are very, studious or particular about what they are doing. Again, in both these situations, your social element will not be looked after. We all have social needs. That needs should be looked after. Plus, a lot of learning happens by interacting with people. For example, if I'm passive or I'm not participating, for example, even in this group, if some of you are not participating, you may be passively learning. But if you are actively learning, it will be very different. It will be very different because when you're actively learning, all your senses are engaged. And when all your senses are engaged, there are different, actions happening within your brain. On the other side, if you're just passively listening, there's a possibility you will get distracted. You will zone out. You will actually, start thinking about past or future or something else. So in communication, in relationship, if you are passive, again, there's a risk that your rights will not be respected. Your wishes will not be respected. You will not be allowed to or encouraged to tell what you want, because nobody has time to ask, why are you not speaking, or why are you not eating, or why are you not participating? Everybody is so self-obsessed today. Who will come? It's only your parents who will look after you. Okay, why are you looking dull, or why are you not eating well? The rest of the world is busy with their own jobs. Why will they come up to you and ask you, Hardik, आज आप ऐसे क्यों लग रही हो, वैसे क्यों लग रही हो? Nobody cares. So proactively, you have to stay active if you want to grow in life. Does that help you, Hardik? Thank you. Thank you. So if there are no more questions, we move forward with a very, very interesting topic that I actually mentioned you in the group also. And that was the reason why I said, if you know the topic, you will come prepared with some questions. But I'm very happy. I'm seeing a change in your approach. I would advise you to have similar approach even in your classroom when you are interacting with your teachers. For teachers also, teaching a subject becomes very burdening when students are not participating. On the contrary, I always tell teachers, they are not supposed to be teaching you. They are supposed to be asking you intelligent questions, and you should be able to answer those questions. But for that, you will have to study that topic in advance. So always ask your teacher, what are we going to study in the next class? And then read that subject. And when you go to the classroom, when teacher is teaching you, and if you have read that subject, your grasping will be much faster. Plus, I'm sure you will have a couple of questions to ask, which you can ask at the end of the class whenever your teacher says, okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. That is one, when you ask an intelligent question, your question gets clarified. And second, that builds wonderful rapport with your teacher. So I would advise, see, every day you have to study something. I'm sure in medicine, you can't do without studying. So rather than studying what the teacher has taught today, teach or read what teacher is going to teach tomorrow. It's just go one day in advance. That's all. One class in advance. So what your teacher is going to teach tomorrow, if you have checked with your teacher, I'm sure once you'll proactively ask him, and if we know we can come prepared, And teachers will be very happy when they get to see this kind of proactive approach coming from you. Read that subject. Teacher's job will become very enjoyable and interesting. And it will become lighter also. Then the kind of interaction you will have with your teacher will be very different, because then it will be like she has subject knowledge or he has subject knowledge, and you have also read the subject. Then it will be a lot of intelligent interaction rather than just passively listening, because whenever you will listen any topic for the first time, you will not know what it is. You will not know what questions to ask. So I would advise this approach to each one of you to study much in, at least one day in advance, when whatever the subject the teacher is going to teach, or whatever the topic the teachers are going to cover. So keeping that in mind and seeing your interaction, which I'm really appreciating, today's topic is, professional grooming, again, a very important and a essential topic. So this topic, I would ask you to look at from 4 points of views. One, you being a medical student. So what basic etiquettes, basic behavior, basic overall, appearance you need to be mindful of. We are going to talk about that. Second will be when you will start interacting with your patients. So how well prepared you are in terms of your appearance, in terms of your conduct, in terms of your professional readiness to interact with the patients. Because when you will be new handling your patients, you will also require some time to get confident and know how to go about, forming a good impression or a good rapport with your patient. Some of you may be very confident, very comfortable. Some of you may feel very hesitant to go and interact with the patient. Plus, patients also sometimes say, "आप तो बच्चे हो, आप क्या मुझे बताओगे? आप तो मेरे से ही पूछ रहे हो." So, how do you handle those situations and how do you prepare for that? So today's session, look at the learning of this session from that point of view, that this will prepare you to start dealing with your patients. Third, when you will graduate, you will be dealing with your patients. So what is the right way of preparing yourself in terms of your conduct, in terms of your basic etiquette, in terms of your communication, body language? That will help you to form a wonderful rapport and impression on your patient. Again, some of us are very smart. We know how to dress up, we know how to behave, we know how to conduct ourselves. Some of us are very simple. We are not very mindful of the dressing or the behavior or basic etiquettes. But then this session will help you acquire understanding of those, areas which will help you build a wonderful impression and good rapport with your patient. And then finally, we all have personal life. So whatever you're going to learn in today's session is equally applicable to your personal life, with your friends, family, social, situations. So attend this session again with a very open mind, lot of learning, no theory, very interesting facts. Keep noting whatever you learn, and also something you think you really need to focus on. So you will have your, key takeaways that, okay, this is what I need to improve myself. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. So identify your strengths, identify your weaknesses. That will help you to, have a roadmap. Okay, these are the things I need to work on or I need to focus on. Are we good to go? Are you all with me? Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
So can I request everyone to have their camera on, because I can still see some of you haven't had your camera on. And please don't switch off your camera off and on, frequently, because that disturbs me and there's a change in the screen, so that distracts my mind. So if I may ask you, what is the importance of professional grooming in anybody's life? What do you say? Is it important, not important? How important? If anybody would like to unmute and speak. मेरी क्लास में सबसे बड़ा फायदा यह है कि आप बोल सकते हो और कुछ भी बोल सकते हो और कोई भी सवाल जवाब गलत नहीं है, ना कोई सवाल गलत है ना कोई जवाब गलत है. सो दिस इज अ गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्रैक्टिस योर स्किल्स कि बोलना है. I invite answers because that's what is going to help you, think. जरूरत है, प्रोफेशनल ग्रूमिंग की जरूरत है, डॉक्टर्स को जरूरत है,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स को जरूरत है
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
कि दे आर बियॉन्ड इट और दे आर बियॉन्ड इट. किसी किसी फैकल्टी को देखकर लगता है ना कि ये बहुत स्मार्टली ड्रेस्ड अप है, और किसी किसी फैकल्टी को देखकर लगता है ये कितना शैबिली ड्रेस्ड अप है, ये कैसे आ गए हैं, ये हमें पढ़ाने आए हैं, खुद ही तैयार नहीं है. ऐसा होता है. जो टीचर बहुत स्मार्टली ड्रेस्ड अप होते हैं उनको उनके साथ रैपो बिल्ड करना आसान होता है या मुश्किल होता है?
मुश्किल होता है.
मुश्किल होता है जो स्मार्टली ड्रेस्ड अप होते हैं. जयंत, इट्स ओके, बताओ क्या बोला आपने?
यस मैम.
जो टीचर
मुश्किल होता है थोड़ा.
जो टीचर स्मार्टली ड्रेस्ड अप होते हैं उनसे रैपो बिल्ड करना मुश्किल होता है.
मुश्किल होता है मैम.
क्यों मुश्किल होता है?
क्योंकि उसमें उन्होंने कुछ अपने स्टैंडर्ड सेट कर रखे हैं. उन्होंने अपने स्टैंडर्ड सेट कर रखे हैं, तो हमें वो मैच करने पड़ेंगे. वो मैच करने पड़ेंगे तो हमें एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट्स करने पड़ेंगे.
तो ये गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि अगर किसी टीचर ने बहुत अच्छे कोई स्टैंडर्ड सेट करे हुए हैं बिहेवियर के, ड्रेसिंग के, कंडक्ट के, उनसे अगर हम कनेक्शन बना पाए, डू यू थिंक दैट विल हेल्प अस इन बिकमिंग अ बेटर डॉक्टर?
यस मैम.
एग्जैक्टली. मुश्किल होगा क्योंकि उनके सामने जब भी हम जाएंगे तो वो किसी ना किसी चीज को लेके जरूर टोकेंगे. आपके बाल देखो कैसे लग रहे हैं, आपके कपड़े देखो आपने कैसे पहने हुए हैं, आप चप्पल पहनकर कैसे आ सकते हो, है ना, आपने ये पजामा पहनकर आप यहाँ कैसे आ सकते हो. सो यस, दे विल पॉइंट आउट, बट देन फॉर हुज बेटरमेंट इट इज? फॉर आवर बेटरमेंट, इजंट इट? जयंत की बात सुन के मुझे एक बात याद आई कि मेरी एक मासी जी थी, मेरी मदर की सिस्टर थी. तो उनके सामने जब, मतलब मैं बहुत छोटे होने की बात कर रही हूँ, तकरीबन आज से 50 साल पुरानी बात कर रही हूँ, तो हम जब भी उनके सामने जाते थे ना, वो बस एक ही बात कहती थी, बाल देखो अपने, कंघी करी है सुबह से, मुंह धोया है. अच्छा बच्चे थे, हम खेलते थे, धूप में गए, मुंह काला पीला हो गया सब कुछ, बट जब भी उनके सामने पड़ो वो डांट देती थी हमेशा. तो हम उनके सामने जाने में घबराते थे. जयंत वाली बात बिल्कुल ठीक है, हम उनके सामने जाने में घबराते थे क्योंकि हमें पता था कि जैसे ही हम इनके सामने जाएंगे कुछ ना कुछ हमें टोक देंगे. लेकिन आज जब मैं उनके बारे में याद करती हूँ तो मुझे समझ आता है कि वो एक्चुअली हमें किस लिए कहते थे, कि ताकि हम अपने आप का, अपना ध्यान रखें, अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन का ध्यान रखें. हम बहुत भारी ध्यान नहीं देते, बालों का ध्यान नहीं देते, कपड़ों का ध्यान नहीं देते, नेल्स का ध्यान नहीं देते, फुटवियर क्या पहना है इसका ध्यान नहीं देते. एवरीथिंग हैज अ रोल टू प्ले. और आज का सेशन जो है वो आपको इसी चीज के बारे में एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए. तो मैं आपको एक पिक्चर दिखाकर पूछना चाहती हूँ इस पिक्चर के बारे में, ठीक है? ओ ये आया हुआ था, सॉरी, इट्स ओके.
Meanwhile, can I ask my students, मुझसे बात करने में परेशानी तो नहीं हो रही है?
Oh मैम.
No, ma'am.
Can you reach out to me?
That's so important.
तो
Yes.
अच्छा एक बात बता दो ये भी कि अगर मुझे रीच आउट करने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रही है तो am I shabbily dressed?
आपका भी तो नहीं है मैम.
क्या बोल रहे हो जयंत? जयंत, you are
वीडियो
not
तो नहीं है
audible.
मैम.
अच्छा
वीडियो तो नहीं है।
नहीं वो तो ठीक है, अभी के लिए नहीं पूछ रहे। ठीक है मैम, इफ इट इज अवेलेबल प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
अगर मैं आप बच्चों से पूछूं कि इनको देखकर क्या लग रहा है, कहाँ से आए हैं, कौन है ये? अगर कोई आपसे ये कहे कि ये डॉक्टर है, विल यू बिलीव? अगर ये आपकी क्लास लेने आ जाए, पढ़ाने आ जाए, पेशेंट देखने चले जाएं, सर्जरी करने चले जाएं, do you think his patients will be like comfortable? Trust is built on the first impression. So how you dress up is probably the most important way towards making a good impression on others. It's very important to remember when you're dressing up that I have to win the confidence of the other person. Any idea? First impression जो है वो कितनी देर में बनता है? Write your answer in the chat box. Write your answer in the chat box. कितनी देर में बनता है first impression? Nine seconds. Okay. हार्दिक तो बहुत प्रिसाइज बोल रहा है. बबीता कह रही है 1 minute. Okay. Okay. और 10 to 20 seconds. जयंत कह रहे हैं okay. Okay. बाकी लोग क्या कहते हैं? Ten seconds. Absolutely. Hemlata says 10 seconds. Yugam says 5 to 10 seconds. Chavi says 1 to 2 minutes. Anshika says 2 to 3 minutes. 30 seconds. Anju says, okay. Hardik says 1 to 3 minutes. Okay. 1 to 2 minutes. Dipesh कह रहे हैं, हरिओम कह रहे हैं 1 से 2 minute. Okay. Okay. You know, the first impression is formed in initial 5 to 10 seconds. Because हम सबसे पहले जब किसी के साथ कनेक्ट होते हैं तो विजुअली कनेक्ट होते हैं. 85% of our input is visual. And incidentally, जो हमें दिखता है कई बार वो होता नहीं है. But then that's how the human mind has been programmed. We form the first impression of a person just by looking at a person. And looking means just couple of seconds. And immediately we start having, an idea about what this person is. Although a lot of studies says first impressions are never true. They are never true. But at the same time, we all know that it is very important to form a good impression. Because whatever the consequent data is, that is viewed through the lens of first impression. अगर कोई सामने वाला हमें देखकर इंटेलिजेंट लग रहा है या वेल ड्रेस लग रहा है या फाइनेंशियली वेल ऑफ लग रहा है. अब जैसे अगर कोई फाइनेंशियली वेल ऑफ लग रहा है तो अगर उसने बहुत ऑर्डिनरी घड़ी पहनी होगी या ऑर्डिनरी शूज पहने होंगे तो हम कहेंगे कितने सिंपल है ये, है ना. और अगर देखने में हमें कोई हम्बल बैकग्राउंड से लग रहा है और उसने अगर कोई बहुत बढ़िया सा फोन पकड़ा हुआ है तो वी विल स्टार्ट हैविंग अ डाउट कि देखने में तो इतना रिच नहीं लग रहे, हाउ कम दिस पर्सन हैज अ एक्सपेंसिव फोन. So the consequent data is always viewed through the lens of the first impression. Therefore, it is very important to form a good impression. And if you have been able to form a good impression, your future interactions become easy. For example, पिछली बारी जब हमने क्लास ली, आप में से कुछ बच्चे बोले, कुछ नहीं बोले. आप ऑब्जर्व करो कि उसके बाद में आपका और मेरा इंटरैक्शन का लेवल कैसे डिफर हुआ. Some of you are now continuously interacting with me. Some of you are still quiet. Some of you are not participating at all. Some of you are not even visible to me. So your whole learning process gets impacted when you are not able to build that connection with the person with whom you are, interacting with. So if you are able to form a good impression, the future interaction will actually become easy, and it will help you build rapport with the person. Is building good rapport important? Is it important or not important? क्या कहते हो?
Ma'am, it's important to have an honest interaction with others.
Absolutely, it's very important to build, especially आपके केस में देखो, कल जब आप अपने पेशेंट्स को हैंडल करोगे, जब आप पेशेंट्स को हैंडल करोगे, मेडिकल कॉलेज में फिर भी बिकॉज पेशेंट हैज कम, सो पेशेंट कैन नॉट से कि आई विल नॉट गेट माई सेल्फ examined by you, or I don't want to consult you and I want to consult another doctor. But tomorrow when you will be in practice, your patients will come to you because okay, they have heard about you. But if you have not been able to build good rapport, they will not open up, they will not give you details of their condition, they will not even listen to you, they will not follow your instructions, they may not even come for the next visit. So it's very important to build rapport. अब classroom की अगर हम बात करते हैं, with your teacher, if you have good rapport, your future learning becomes better. With your classmates, if you build rapport, they will be helpful, they'll be nice to you, they will be, if you require any help, they will support you, they will help you. So building rapport is very important. Also, if you are able to form a good first impression, it will help you earn respect and credibility from people. So, and normally we are not very careful about first impression or how we are carrying ourselves. Please remember that first impression is the everlasting impression. Usually we look all other events through the lens of the first impression. Is it easy to change the first impression? Yes or no?
No.
It's not easy. Honestly, it's not easy. And any idea how many attempts you require to change your first impression? For example, you come late for the class and the impression on your teacher is that you are not very punctual, you are not on time. Very quickly we get this impression that this student is not serious, this student is not responsible. See, the consequent thoughts are just one incident, that you are not coming to the classroom before time, or you're not there and you're coming late for the classroom. See how a chain of negative thoughts actually start occurring, that this student is not very responsible, is not serious, is not punctual, and whatnot. And if you want to change this thought process of your teacher or your classmates, you require a lot of attempts. It's not easy to change the first impression. Almost 15 to 20 attempts you will require to change the impression. For example, somebody said you something about their personal information and you went and shared that information with somebody. That friend of yours got to know that you shared his or her personal information with somebody which this person had shared with you with great confidence. So it's a breach of trust. You have lost that trust. It will take you a lot of time to rebuild that trust. It takes almost 50 to 20 attempts to change the impression of the person. And sometimes you may not get a second chance to change the impression. Maybe you will not interact with that person again, or that person is not ready to let go of your impression. So if I may ask you, what forms the part of first impression? Write in the chat box. क्या क्या आता है first impression में? Write in the chat box. Body language, very good. Very good. Okay, body language. I can see 2 answers. Okay, dressing, absolutely. Dressing sense, how well dressed you are. Yes, because dressing plays a very big role in the impression that we form. Yes. Way of, जैन दोबारा लिखो क्या लिखा है, मैं पढ़ नहीं पा रही. Way of, या तो आप doing things कह रहे हो क्या है? Greetings, yes, very good. Jayant, speaking, yes. Dress sense and how you talk, Chavi. Yes, very right, very right. What else? What else? How you talk, how you behave, greetings, how well dressed you are. Absolutely. Gestures, absolutely. Dressing style, interaction, absolutely right. How you talk with your juniors and classmates also, Dipesh, juniors, classmates and everyone, yes. Listening, oh yes, Anshika, excellent. I think that's a very good point that you have added. How intently we listen to the other person. Very right, Jayant, you're right. Our attitude towards others, that gets shown in our behavior. Your confidence, absolutely. Self-confidence, body language, the respect we give them. I think you are spot on. Absolutely, a lot of things come in the forming of first impression. First of all is the dressing. Just 1 second, why is it? Okay. Dressing, as I said, we usually judge people from their dress. ये पढ़े लिखे हैं, ये कम पढ़े लिखे हैं, ये गरीब है, ये अमीर है, ये रूरल बैकग्राउंड से है, ये अच्छी बैकग्राउंड से है. All that we actually decide on the basis of the dressing of the person. Personal hygiene. Lot of things that we don't really take care, but people also, form an impression based on the personal hygiene, then our overall appearance. Then comes communication and conversational skills, because that is where, when the moment you open your mouth, you start speaking, you start interacting with the person. So they start forming an impression about you, especially looking at your language, the way you speak, the tone of voice, the loudness of your voice. So that also forms part of the impression. Body language. 55% of the communication is through your body language. 55%. And then, of course, your etiquettes in public and social grace. All this is part of your first impression. So you can note down these things: dressing, personal hygiene, overall appearance, communication and conversational skills, body language, etiquettes, and social grace. Score yourself on this and keep these scores with you. Don't share it with anybody. I don't want you to put your scores in the chat box, but just note down these 5-6 points, and in front of each time, rate yourself out of 10. Rate yourself out of 10. You will get an idea what you really need to focus on and how you need to.
Ma'am, please repeat the points.
Can you? It's there, right there, Jen. Screen पे दिख रहा है बेटा. Dressing, personal hygiene, overall appearance, communication and conversational skills, body language, etiquettes and social grace. 6 points है बेटा. इनके ऊपर अपने को खुद रेट करो. You don't have to share the rating with anybody, but that's for your own understanding. that where you stand. You could even play this as an activity with your friends with whom you are comfortable talking about this, asking them to rate you on these. You will get a wonderful idea from them. What do they think about you? If you remember last class, we discussed Johari window. In Johari window, public self is what I think about myself. Blind spot is what others think about me, and I don't know. You could ask your friends and family members to rate you on this. If their rating and your rating is same, that means you are precise on. But in case if their rating and your rating is different, this should tell you that means I need to, maybe you think my personal hygiene is 8 out of 10. But if your family says your personal hygiene is 6 out of 10, they are likely to be more accurate in their rating. If you think my overall appearance is 8 out of 10, but your friends say it is 6 out of 10, that means there's a gap of 20%. Check with them, what do you think in my overall appearance you think is not okay? Maybe they'll be able to give you a very, to the point advice. Maybe it's about hair, or maybe selection of clothes, maybe color of clothes that I wear, or the shoes I wear. They'll be able to tell you. So take feedback from your friends and family whom you trust, with whom you are comfortable sharing your scores. Don't share your scores, ask them to rate you. That will give you an idea how likely you are to form a good impression on your friends or classmates or teachers, or in general in your personal life. Should we move further? Should we move further? Okay. Now coming to grooming, and that's about dressing. There's a saying, what you are what you wear. So whatever you wear, you are that. People make, following decisions about you in the wink of an eye when they meet you for the first time. They're able to kind of, make a decision about your economic level, education level, trustworthiness, maturity, level of experience, your moral character, and your success. So just imagine how people, not just people, even we immediately, evaluate the person on these parameters. This is college. It's okay. You are with your friends. You still have time. 5 years time, your dressing will change. Your overall style will change. Your overall confidence will change. But when you will meet your patients, maybe you will never get a chance to meet your patients, repeatedly for 5 years. So there you will have only one chance. So there you have to put your best foot forward so that you give a very professional impression to your teacher, or sorry, to your patient. So it's very important to remember that your dressing plays a very big role in, in getting the right impression on the other person. Now, if you look at these two boys, they're looking very smart, very cute. But if they were to go and meet their patient, so as long as you are in college with your classmates, I think this may be still okay. If you're allowed to wear a t-shirt and this kind of t-shirt is okay. But if you're going to meet your patients and if you're dressed up like this, do you think your patients would be comfortable sharing their personal information with you? Especially when you will start collecting history from them, you will ask questions about their illness. They may consider you naive. They may consider you very young, inexperienced. So in your personal life, maybe even in the college, if that's permitted, maybe this is okay. That means if I'm going to meet my patients, I cannot afford to be dressing up like this. And I have to be mindful. Again, people and public will, keep observing us from head to toe. I have seen students wearing, bathroom slippers to the classroom and to their, hospitals. Again, please mind, your teachers are also, in a way, observing you. You're forming an impression on them. If you are well-dressed does not mean expensive clothes. I'm not asking you to wear expensive clothes. But appropriately dressed up. Selection of color, selection of fitting, selection of material. If you do well, you form a good impression on your teachers, on your patients, and on your friends. So always remember that you have to dress to impress. At home, you can wear anything, most comfortable clothes, loose clothes, even, clothes that are just, worn out because it's very, very hot, or if it's very cold, you wear all sorts of warm clothes. But when you go out meeting people, you really need to know the right way of, dressing so that you form a good impression. The questions that you need to ask yourself is, and I think these are 3 questions that I have put for you. There can be many more that you can think of. The first question is, does this cloth fit me properly? A lot of time we wear a cloth which is actually undersized or oversized. Just because we like it, we wear it. Or it is too short, too tight, too loose. Again, if I'm going to a professional setup, it could be your college, it could be your hospital. And if I'm dressed up like this, people are going to look at me and form an impression about me. The second question that you need to ask is, does this article of clothing, pair of shoes, or handbag that I'm carrying, does it look good or it is outdated? Does it look worn out? Does it look outdated? Because clothes or shoes and handbag, if they are torn and they are outdated, they are going to form a poor impression on others. And then, am I dressed appropriately for my position and responsibility? Again, if you are coming to your college for classes, maybe if you are not very formally dressed up, I think your teachers will be okay. But if you're going to meet your patients and if you're casually dressed up, that's going to be where your patients may not feel comfortable interacting with you or may not treat you like a doctor. So you will be treated the way you appear. In a lot of medical colleges, students say, girls especially would sometimes say, कि मैम patients हमें sister बुलाते हैं, या जो young boys हैं वो कहते हैं कि हमें वो भैया कह के बुलाते हैं patient. If you look like that, you will be treated like that. But if you are dressed up smartly, if you are wearing a good apron, if you have a name tag, and you are professionally dressed up, people would have an idea that no, you cannot be bhaiya or you cannot be sister. You must be a doctor. So if you want to be treated like a doctor, you have to look like a doctor. That's something that we have to keep in mind. So a little bit about the dress code for both boys and girls. For boys, I would say preferably well-fitted, neat and comfortable shirt with the well-fit, comfortable trouser. Something like loose ends, threads, open seams, missing buttons, cuff for the cuff of the shirt, they reflect untidiness. Tomorrow when you will be wearing apron, a lot of time I see students wearing apron that are dirty or stained. You may think it's in the hospital, but you are wearing it. It's on your body. It should be clean, stain-free. Jeans and t-shirts are normally avoided, but I think are you allowed in the college to wear jeans and t-shirts? Is it permitted?
No, ma'am.
It's not permitted. So if it's not allowed, then of course you cannot wear, but whatever the dress code is, the whole idea is that the clothes should be well-fitting, they should be clean, they should be well-ironed and easy to maintain kind of a clothes. something that you are able to, comfortably wear. So if you are wearing jeans, it should be well fit, whether it's a at in college, and in case if jeans are not allowed for boys also in college. I repeat my question. Both boys and girls are not allowed to wear jeans in the college?
Not allowed, ma'am.
Not allowed. Okay. So, but even in your personal setting, if you are wearing jeans, make sure that your jeans is well fit, neither too tight nor too loose. And it shouldn't be, sagging and, loose and going down. Shoes, I hope you're allowed to wear sneakers in the college. Is that allowed?
Formal shoes.
Formal shoes, okay. Usually for long-standing hours, usually we allow sport shoes that are of simple color. But in case if that's the dress code, then it's good if you wear whatever the dress code is. But the idea is that it should be a comfortable pair of shoes. Coming to the socks and shoes matching. So what color socks normally do you wear with shoes?
Black.
Black. But I see a lot of people wearing printed socks now, ankle length socks now. Do you also wear? Do you all also wear or no? No. So that means you dress up in a formal way. So the idea is the color of the sock should actually match the color of your trouser. If you're wearing black or gray trousers, then the socks should be either black or gray, depending upon the. So, and I think most important is to change the socks every day, because some of us really have a very bad odor. So it's very important to change your socks every day. Again, earlier we used to say the length of the sock should be, above the ankle, but now I see people wearing, even ankle length socks. So I wouldn't say that don't wear trendy, but in a professional setup, it's better if you wear as per the professional requirement. So things like flip-flops or slippers are absolutely no to the college and hospital, and one should not wear even if you are allowed. Even if you're allowed, don't wear this, because this actually forms a very poor impression on others. So for formal occasion, it's always good to wear shoes with laces and should be well polished, and should be subtle color like black or brown. Fancy shoes like pointed toes and metal tip, not a good idea. One should avoid. Shoes of even patent leather with extra shine should also be avoided, because they unnecessarily catch attention of the person. Any questions about the dress code for boys before we move to dress code for girls? Any questions? For boys. So you all wear formal shirts and trousers to the college, and you are comfortable, used to?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So preferably, in case if that's the dress code, then it's good to wear light color shirt, especially if we have, Indians are not very fair skinned people. So we are slightly wheatish and slightly on the darker side. So I will advise always wear light color shirt, because that brightens up your face color, complexion. And dark color shirt would actually absorb light and make you look darker. So make sure that you wear light color shirt with a dark trousers, black, gray, blue, dark blue color. Any specific color, or you can wear any color shirt and trousers. Any color you can wear. Okay. So any questions about the clothings and shoes and Other accessories? No questions? So we move for clothings for the girls. Again, dress code for girls. And what about girls? What are girls supposed to be wearing in terms of their dress code to the college? One of you, please unmute and tell me.
Formal style, ma'am. Kurtis.
Sorry?
Kurtis, ma'am.
Kurtis. Okay. So you are kurtis, and then with that, what do you call leggings? Kurtis with legging, is
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
And
Leggings or trousers.
or trousers. Okay. So kurti with trousers. Again, it's a good idea because that will give you a good cover and also it will make you comfortable. So the whole idea is that the clothing has to be comfortable. And what about shoes? Any specific instruction for shoes?
Sport shoes, ma'am. Sober sport shoes.
Yeah. So you can wear sport shoes or, sandals like this, which are comfortable. And even if you have to, stay outdoor for long hours, they actually help you feel less tired. Hairstyle for girls, I think anybody who has long hair should either make a pony or should make a bun so that you look neat and tidy. A lot of time we have hair that are loose, and it may appear very nice to start with when the day begins, but by the afternoon or little later, they look very shabby. So in case if you have short hair, you must comb your hair off and on whenever you go to the washroom. And otherwise, if you have long hair, one should do either make a bun or a pony, neat pony. So hair holding devices like clips and all, they should be very simple and natural color. They should not, be very gaudy or jazz or very loud. And of course, the color of the hair should be natural and not very funky kind of a thing. So talking about the accessories and makeup, I think less is more when it comes to makeup. Yes, moisturizing skin is important. Even light makeup is okay because that brightens up, that makes you feel good. Things like jewelry, again, very minimal jewelry looks better rather than wearing anything. I know you don't wear that. I'm just repeating or kind of validating. If you're not doing it, it's for your this thing that, okay, I'm on the right track. Even perfumes, in case if you like to wear perfume, it should be a very mild, light perfume, not a very loud and strong perfume, because then it becomes too much for anybody to handle. Now, coming to personal hygiene, I know most of you must be already taking care of your personal hygiene. It's going to be more like revision for you, or maybe, sometimes we don't value something, but this will tell you that again, strong odors, personal hygiene not well kept gets noticed. It gets noted. So I think it's more to do with overall cleanliness, your hair, nails, dental hygiene, oral hygiene, skin care, and foot care. So I think we all take bath daily, and it's important, especially in winters also, it's important to make sure that you take bath regularly, because otherwise you have a body odor, which you may be quite used to and you may not realize, but others can make out. So about dental hygiene, brushing your teeth twice a day, rinsing your mouth after every meal, using a mouthwash, and this is very important. Some of us may have bad breath. So please always have, mouth freshness in your bag so that whenever you feel, especially if you have stayed hungry for long hours, there's a possibility that there can be a bad odor, a bad, smell. So having a, freshener, mouth freshener is a good idea in your, pocket or bag. So I know, we don't have this problem of nicotine stain, but then please remember something like this actually gives a very, disgusting feeling to others if we have nicotine stain on the teeth or hand, or if there's a tobacco breath coming from us. Nails, I think, is an important area that we need to talk, because a lot of time we think, okay, I'll clip my nails, but we don't sometimes, take it very seriously and don't do it regularly. So dirty nails, they look really disgusting, and long nails in white dust and germs, which is a absolute, especially now we are very particular about, hand hygiene and frequent washing of hands. So nails that are brittle, discolored, again, that show deficiencies. I don't know how many of you like to keep long hairs. Sorry, long nails. Anybody has long nails? Yes or no? No. I think we take life too seriously. But I understand that I mean, having multicolor, nail art done and chipped nails is again not a good way. So make sure that you clip your nails regularly. Make it a habit to do it once a week. एक आदत बना लो कि Sunday करना है. So nobody has to remind you. You will remember, okay, every Sunday I have to clip my nails. Regarding skincare, please, including boys, please regularly moisturize your skin. Clean your, especially pedicure and manicure. That's very important. You don't have to go to a salon to get it done. Even at home, you can do it when you are, on Sunday, maybe every Sunday you can plan that, okay, I'll clean my feet, with more attention. The idea is that your feet should look good and clean. Piercing. Anybody has got piercing or tattooing done? Anybody? I don't think. But then we all know that that's not a very good idea. One should avoid doing something like this. So talking about hair, it's very important to remember that, they are most important in forming your impression. Please remember, you may not realize, but I think the immediate attention is on your face and your hair. Later on, we look from head to toe and we look at the other things, but the immediate attention goes to the moment you make eye contact, that's the area that you see above the shoulder. So that includes your hair and your, facial expressions and face, how you look like. So it's very important to, first of all, keep the length, that is manageable, and they should be tidy and well kept, and wash your hair at least thrice a week, because otherwise they look oily and they stick and they look shabby. For boys, now I know we don't have that, trend of long hairs. There was a time when, we saw people having long hair. I see some boys still having a pony behind, and then it's not a good idea for at least medical profession. It's not a good idea, because patients might feel that you are, funkily dressed up. So, but the hair should not fall on the ear or eyebrows or even touch the back of your collar. So spikes and funky, not a good idea. One should avoid this kind of a, hairstyle. So facial hair should be neatly trimmed. Although I know nowadays the trend is of beard, but then again, if you can really, really maintain it, and are you allowed to have beard in college? Is it allowed, or is it no?
Unofficially not allowed.
It's not allowed. That's because sometimes if we are not keeping it well and it's not maintained well, it looks very shabby also. So it's better not to have, beard, rather have clean, well kept, well trimmed facial hair. Then mustaches, sideburn, beards are not recommended because they don't look very professional. Those of you who have oily, frizzy hair, oil or gel regularly so that you can maintain and look after your hair well. Some of us have very strong odor, especially from our, armpits and body odor. It's very important to make sure that you regularly use deodorant and you remove or shave the hair of your armpit, because it should not smell bad. So overall appearance, plays a very big role in forming impression, and your professionalism, your intelligence, and the trust people that will form in you is mainly due to your appearance. So that's the thing that you have to remember when you are going for your, especially college, or when you will be interacting with your patient. So you should look neat and smart, confident, professional, reliable, and approachable if you want your patients to treat you with respect and take you seriously. Now, coming to the body language and aspects of, other parts of what makes first impression. So things like making eye contact, smile, facial expressions, everything has a role to play. Actually, if you see, all this doesn't have anything to do with the speaking. So that's why I said it's much before you open your mouth. People already have an idea about what you must be or what must be your talking style or communication style. So coming to the eye contact, always when you are meeting a person, make an eye contact. Look at the person eye to eye. Socially acceptable timings are look at the person for 2 to 3 seconds and then shift your focus. Looking at a person from head to toe is not a good idea. That's not a respectful way of looking at anybody. Continuously looking looks like challenging and refuting and is taken as steering. So again, not a good idea. So one should avoid this kind of looking. So in a professional interaction, look at the eyes and above the eyes. In a personal relationship, you can look at the eyes and below the eyes. So looking at somebody's nose and lips and chin is okay when it is a personal relationship. But in a professional setup, always look at the eyes and above the eyes, and that will make you also comfortable and also the other person comfortable. I think this is one habit we all have to form. Greet promptly. That's the first icebreaker. Normally we keep waiting somebody else to come forward and do it. But sooner you do, easier it will be to break the ice and connect with the person. So when your patients come in, if you welcome in a manner by saying, Namaste ji, aiye, Namaste Baba, aiye, Namaste Auntie ji, aiye. So what you are doing, you are greeting promptly, not waiting for the patient to greet you. Similarly, in the classroom, some of you will be greeting your teachers promptly. Some of you would just keep waiting. Okay, others have, greeted. It's okay if I am not greeted. But then I think I would say you must promptly greet whomever you meet, even among classmates. When you enter your class, you must greet each other. If you remember last time also I told, we require 50 to 60 strokes from each other, positive strokes for each other to stay healthy, to stay fit. So greeting is one of the strokes that we share, we give to each other. When you smile and say, good morning, how are you? So you are basically, giving a stroke to the other person. So I would say always remember to smile. A lot of you I see have a very, expressionless face. So let's see the next slide. So what is the regular expression that we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one? Most of the times, which expression do we have?
5.
5. Very correct.
5.
Very correct. Very correct. Why do we keep this expression? Why do we keep this expression?
It's a poker face.
Why poker face? That's what I'm asking you. Suppose if I taught you keeping this poker face, would you have enjoyed this session?
Definitely not, ma'am.
Absolutely not. It's not advisable to have this poker face. This poker face we normally recommend to doctors when the patient is sharing some sensitive information and you don't want to react in a manner that can be, misguiding the patient, that you are judging or you are, rejecting the information. But in general, I think having facial expressions, number 1, that is mild smile, is always, always helpful. That opens the gate for the next step. So I saw all of you when we started this session on Sunday. The expression that you had was number 5. I would recommend this expression is not helpful anywhere. So even when the patient is sharing some information, if instead of this face, if I have a face where I'm showing empathy, compassion, care, attentive listening, that will be far more helpful facial expression than this poker-like face. I would not recommend this face to anybody in any situation. But of course, you're all young, you're still, studying with your teachers, with your classmates. Have a face that is welcoming, that's smiling, that shows interest, that I'm energetic, I want to learn. So the smile has to be genuine, with humbleness and welcoming attitude. So smile, but don't overdo it. Sometimes that can actually mislead. So whenever you are being addressed or greeted, it's always good to get up and respond to that greeting. Look at that person. Your facial expression, of course, should have smile. Make eye contact. And when you shake hand, it has to be in a firm and warm way. How do you do it? That's the way. So we all know handshake has become the most widely accepted form of first contact. Of course, since the COVID time, I think we have stopped shaking hand, and that's in a way very good. I also personally feel that it's not a good idea to shake hand, unless it is really very required in a professional setup. Because when the other person has not washed hands or has touched somewhere, and you are shaking hands with that person, you are likely to get those germs and that infection from the person, and then get affected. But otherwise, I know in professional setup we do shake hands because that's the formal way of greeting each other. But when you are doing it, please make sure that it is not bone crushing. It should be firm, but it should not be very tight. Don't hold the hand for more than 1 or 2 seconds. The palm should neither be facing upward or downward, because when you are doing it upward, it has a different meaning, that you are controlling me. And when I'm making it downward, that means I am controlling you. So it's not a good idea. So it's always good to have a straight hand where both the parties feel equal. And when you're making, when you're shaking hand, make eye contact and then step into the handshake. That's a proper way of doing it. Of course, I think this should give you an idea in professional setting, how you are supposed to be shaking hand with people. So as I said, 55% of the communication is through your body language, the way you stand, the way you sit, everything has a communication to make. Now, this person on the right side has, hands in the pocket. If this is the way you stand and talk to your teacher or your patient or your seniors, that's going to, give an impression that you are disrespectful towards the person, or you are impatient to leave. Or for example, you have your hands around your waist. Again, that shows that you are being defensive or aggressive for the other person. Standing with the crossed legs again shows that probably you're not interested in communicating. Keeping a hand on the mouth or nose again indicates that either you're lying or you want to avoid speaking. Wearing goggles when it is not appropriate and you're not in sun and you're not driving, it could be that you are trying to hide something. You don't want to make eye contact. Closed hands, of course, indicate hostile attitude, aggressive attitude. So what I'm trying to say, these, although I'm not going to, discuss beyond this because we are not here to study the body language, but please remember an open posture helps in creating a good impression. So when you're standing and when you're talking, if you look relaxed and your hands are free and you are comfortably talking, that shows that you are confident and comfortable with whom you are interacting. So I just came across this picture and I was trying to see the facial expressions and body language of this person. So if I may ask you, what does this body language kind of speak? This girl with the check shirt. If you look at the expressions and the body language.
Underconfident.
Okay. Any other guess?
Reserved nature.
Okay. Any other guess? What do others say?
Not interested.
To me, honestly, she appeared disinterested to get the picture done. As though she's been asked to stand, so she's standing. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that see how your facial expressions can be misinterpreted. Now, this person on the extreme left and extreme right, they both have hands in their pocket. It could be taken as, not interested, or it could be taken as, I'm just getting it done because you're asking me to get it done. That's all. So we have to be mindful of the body language, especially when we are interacting with our teachers, with our seniors, with our patients, because we can't see what body language we are, displaying, but the other person is looking at us in totality. So we have to be, mindful of the body language. Posture. So in this picture, there are two postures, A and B, which is okay. A or B, which is okay.
None.
Wow, good. So this posture is not appropriate because in A, the person appears to be callous, careless, disinterested. In B, the person appears to be closed. So the right way of sitting is when you have a erect posture and you are interacting. So even this posture is incorrect. This person is half leaning on the table. Again, not the right way of sitting and working. So the correct posture is when you sit properly, in front of the, if you're in a class or doing something. So sitting erect is the right way of sitting. Personal space, again, another important area of, conducting yourself in public place with people. See, we all carry a bubble around us and we like that bubble to be respected. So respecting the other person's bubble is very important. Don't go very close to the person. It can make them very uncomfortable. Although tomorrow when you will be examining your patients, for certain conditions, you will have to go closer. For example, किसी patient का अगर fundus check करना होगा, तो you will have to go closer. Oral examination करना होगा, you will have to go closer. Ear examination करना होगा, you will have to go closer. Always signpost. Let them know that I'm going to do this. I need to examine your eye. I need to examine your ear. So before you do that, inform that so that they know that you are going to go closer. But otherwise, for example, with your classmates, with your teachers, and with others with whom you are interacting, it's always a good idea to maintain 2.5 feet distance while standing with them. Only in very intimate relationships we can go closer than that, but otherwise minimum is 2.5 feet. Rather, in social places and in public places, it's almost like 5 to 6 feet distance you should be maintaining, especially if the person is not known to you, or you are just interacting for a formal setup. But with patients and in your professional setup, 2.5 feet distance should be maintained. So these were a couple of softening techniques that we had discussed. For example, when you make eye contact, when you smile, when you greet, when you listen attentively, when you nod, the other person is speaking and you're nodding, or you have an open posture. And when the other person is talking, you lean forward and you respect others' personal space. So these help in building rapport. So again, very quickly, note down these points and rate yourself on these, aspects out of 10. Keep this course with you. This should give you an idea, whatever your scores are, and in what direction you need to put your efforts. That should tell you specifically what you need to integrate or improve in. These are all small things, but they go a long way in building good relationship, good rapport with people with whom you interact. It could be your teachers, classmates, seniors, and later on your patients and their family members with whom you will be interacting. Moving forward, I think the third part is the language, because the moment you'll start speaking, you are heard. So in public places with your friends, with your classmates, teachers, it's very important to remember that you have to use respectful and decent language. If you remember the topic we discussed last time at length, that is assertion. So you should be able to say what you want to say in a courteous manner, in a polite manner, in a respectful manner. As I said earlier also, Hindi or English doesn't make a difference. Whatever you are comfortable, rather than speaking wrong English, I would say speak good Hindi. Improve your language, work on your language, have extra classes, attend whatever YouTube videos you are attending to learn English. That's perfectly all right. But when you are meeting people, rather than speaking wrong English, speak good Hindi. I think that will be better to form a good impression and a good rap. Of course, with whom you're speaking, you should know their language skills. Sometimes we speak English, the other person doesn't understand English, so it's better to go to the language that the person can understand. A lot of time we speak our native language, especially if we get a friend who is from the same place and we start speaking with that person in our native language. When you are in a group, it's always advisable to use the language that everybody understands. It is disrespectful if you are three of you, and if I have a friend who speaks my language and the third person does not understand, and we start talking with each other in our language, the third person will completely feel out of place and disrespected. So it's always good to use the language that others can also understand. Then, the moment a person speaks, he or she can be judged. Please remember, because till now it is your overall appearance, your dressing, your personal hygiene. But now you started speaking. So the attention will be how you talk. So when you speak, your tone of voice, your loudness, your speed of speaking, pronunciation, everything has an impact. So you really need to work on these things. That is my pronunciation okay? Is my tone of voice okay? Is loudness, do people remind me again and again that you're loud? Or they ask me to speak slowly. A lot of us have very, fast speed. It doesn't help. It doesn't make good impression. A lot of us use slang in our communication. In a professional setup, that's not a good idea. So we have to be really, really mindful of this. Again, poor language is not professional, so it's good that you build on your vocabulary. Again, that's a mindful process. You need to really learn some of the good words that showcase that your language skills are, of a level. Work on your vocabulary, learn new words. If you don't know meaning of a word, please go to dictionary immediately. Now we all have dictionary on our phone, or even on Google search, you can just put that word and understand the meaning. But don't miss the opportunity of learning a new word, and then try using that word in your conversation and communication with people. So that's how slowly you can build your vocabulary. Keep a target, something like, okay, I will learn at least 5 new words every day, or 10 words every day. So that way you will be able to build your vocabulary. If somebody uses a word that you haven't heard, immediately look into the dictionary, learn to pronounce. That's a wonderful way. Or if you want to say something, say, how can I say this in a different manner? Again, go to the dictionary, look for something that, that's more like synonym for what you want to say. That will help you improve your vocabulary. Of course, in professional setup, not only professional, I think even in personal relationships, one should always avoid vulgar references and swear words. They appear very, very, not only unprofessional, but I think uncultured. So one should avoid, swear words and using. Sometimes unknowingly we would use these words even in the professional setup. So one should be careful not to use such words in our regular communication. Positive phrases like thank you, you're welcome, I'm sorry, excuse me, have a good day. They really, really help to showcase your culture. See, we all bring a culture to wherever we go. That shows our family background. That shows the teaching that we have received from our parents and family. So when you show these courtesies to your classmates or to your seniors or your teachers, and tomorrow to your patients, that shows the kind of culture you are coming from, the kind of teaching you have had at home. So it's very important to practice these skills even with patients. We normally don't say this to the patient, I'm sorry, or thank you, and you're welcome, or have a good day. But when you will use these phrases with them, it will not make you small, it will make you big in the eyes of the patient. Patient will say, oh, this doctor is so well behaved. And as I said earlier also, this we bring from our family and background. So it becomes important to showcase, oh, what is this? Has somebody changed the setting? Okay. So I have given one sentence 6 times. And if you will read this sentence with little emphasis on the word that I have underlined, the whole meaning of the sentence will change completely. And that's intonation. So we really need to be careful about the tone of voice. 10% of the conflicts are because of the wrong words. 90% of the conflicts are because of the wrong tone of voice. So we really need to be careful of the tone of voice, because 38% of the communication happens through the tone of voice. So the tone of voice that appears casual, disinterested, unconcerned, inconfident, rude and authoritative, and aggressive is actually inappropriate tone of voice. Appropriate tone of voice is where you sound sincere. So when I ask you a question and you don't answer, or you answer in a very casual way, or you don't answer in a very in an appropriate volume, or on the other side you answer in a very confident manner, in a sincere manner, it will have a very different impact. Then if your tone of voice appears friendly, confident, soft and polite and assertive, automatically you will have a better impression on the other person. So this is in nutshell about the language part. I've just tried to cover a very small portion of it. It's a huge subject, but giving you an idea, if you start practicing and implementing this right now with your classmates, with your seniors, with your teachers, by the time you'll actually be independently handling your students, all these things will become part of your persona. You will already be using them, so you will not have any challenge being impactful with your patients. So let me quickly take you to some of the public etiquettes. Again, many of you may be already doing it, you may be knowing it, but just a kind of a revision, you can say. See, public etiquette is more like a ticket that gives you an entry into somebody's heart. So when you follow these public etiquettes or social etiquette, you are respected for being a well-behaved person. For example, something like as simple as burping or making noises, bodily noises, it's considered bad. So very mindfully, we have to remember that we don't have to make this kind of sound. Picking your nose, picking your teeth, again, not a good idea. That's not seen as a good behavior. Chewing gum. A lot of us take chewing gum, keep thinking that this is more like a mouth freshener. It's okay maybe for those initial 30 seconds. But after that, if you are continuously chewing, it looks very unprofessional. Even teachers get irritated very badly when students, come with the chewing gum in their mouth. So chewing gum is not a good idea, and one should always avoid, especially in the workplace and professional setup. So we all have allergies and cold. We may have running nose, we may have sneezing. So it's always a good idea to blow your nose, in the washroom rather than doing it in public. Have a tissue paper with you, have a hanky with you, excuse yourself and blow your nose and clean yourself and then come back, rather than doing publicly. I see a lot of people sneezing with their hands and then wiping their hands with their clothes. Absolutely not a good idea. Of course, it's important to cover your nose if you are sneezing or you have cold. Now, of course, we are saying that cover your nose with the side of your arm. At least that's, you're not touching your hands to your nose. But I think that's all just a kind of a different shortcuts. Better idea is have tissue paper and keep changing the tissue paper. Even hanky in that case is not a good idea, because you are contaminating the hanky and then putting in your pocket and reusing it. So again, not a good idea, especially when you have cough and cold. It's good to use tissue paper and dispose of that tissue paper rather than washing it. If you need to look at your hair and touch up your makeup, don't do this in public. Especially I see a lot of people standing in front of the mirror and doing it even in public place. Use restroom. That's a better way of looking. So just to tell about this, some of the basic manners that I'm sure you already must be doing it, but just to kind of revise. Don't wear strong perfumes and cologne that we have already discussed. Don't eat smelly food like onion, radish, fish, especially when you are going for any interaction. Of course, at night, if you're eating and sleeping, that's a different thing. But if you know you are going for a class, you're going for a meeting, you're going to meet patients, that's not a good idea, because people can, smell it. Don't stand in front of somebody's cubicle or table and carry on the conversation. And even in the classroom, you're talking to somebody and standing on somebody's head is not a good idea. If you're entering anyone's room, it's important to knock the door before you enter and give that person a time to tell you yes or no, not just knock and then you get into. Let that person say, please come in, or that's a better way of entering somebody's room. And don't walk into the other person's room when someone is on phone, because then that person neither can say you to please go and nor can continue the conversation comfortably. So it's better to just walk out and then go again, rather than standing there and waiting that person to get over. So one of the questions that you had asked was that the kind of topics that we can have when we start conversation with the people. Even I think with classmates and your people with whom you will be interacting, safe topics are like sports, cultural event, food, local attraction, books, movies, vacation ideas. Topics like jokes, politics, religion, finances, family tragedy, health, life disappointment, these should not be, at least in a group setting, these should never be picked up. They can be done one-on-one only if we can talk about it without getting upset about the outcome. Otherwise, I think it's only meant for very, very close people with whom you can take this topic. I think that's another important area we need to kind of revise. You all will be sharing toilets in the college and even when you are in hostel. So you all have independent toilets, or you share with others?
We share, ma'am.
In the hostel you share. Okay. So it's very important if you are sharing toilets with your classmates, with your batchmates and classmates. So it's very important to use toilet with care and responsibility. Don't soil the toilet seat. It's our duty. If we have soiled it, it's our duty to clean and dry after use. So if you have tissue papers put up there, that's a good idea. If you don't have tissue papers put up there, please carry your tissue paper roll with you. And before you leave, clean your seat and leave it dry for the next person to use it. Wash your hands with soap and water after using toilet. I think that need not be said. Now we all know we need to be very, very careful, especially because of COVID situation. Dry your hands before you leave the toilet. So having a tissue paper to dry your hand, that's a good idea. Don't forget to close the tap after use. A lot of time we think it's a public toilet, it's a government hostel, government college. So we don't care for the wastage of water or if the electricity is on. But then it's a wastage and it's nobody's gain. If you can, make sure that you close the tap, and in case if the tap is leaking, inform the authorities that the tap needs to be repaired, whatever. The idea is the water and electricity should not be wasted. So make sure that you switch off lights before leaving the toilet. Some of the table manners, again, because you all must be sharing meals in the mess. So it's important and helpful to know some of the table manners. Again, I don't mean that you don't know. It could be more of a revision for some of you, or maybe new learning, for a couple of us. So wash hands before and after eating food. While eating food, please don't make noise. Sometimes when we are chewing, we make noise, not realizing that we are making noise. Keep your mouth closed while eating. So one should not, actually eat with the mouth open. It looks very disgusting when the person sitting on the opposite side can actually see what we are eating. So don't take a very big bite. Then you can comfortably close your mouth. If you take a big bite, then you will not be able to close your mouth. Also, while eating, it's not a good idea to talk, because if you open your mouth to talk, again, your food inside the mouth will be visible. Again, avoid smelly food during the day, because that's going to, others would be affected by it. Use spoon to eat as much as possible. So only the food that can, like chapati, we can't eat with spoon. So chapati is something that we have to eat with hand. But otherwise, for most of the things, one should use, spoon so that your hands remain clean. Don't use both the hands to handle food. So preferably we eat with the right hand. The left hand should be clean, maybe for the second serving, but it should not get, dirty, or should not be used to handle the food. Don't overeat and burp at the end. That's again not considered very good idea. And then always have a tissue paper or a napkin while eating, because you may spill something, you may need to clean it, you need to clean your hands. So have a tissue paper or napkin when you're eating. This I don't think we need to say, but then please make sure that you don't spoil your clothes and table while eating. I've seen a lot of us would actually throw something on their clothes, and then they'll say, that's my trademark. I think we have to learn to eat, especially it's a formative year of your life, and then now you are going to get into a professional setup. You'll be going for conferences, meeting. So there you really need to conduct yourself in a very professional manner. So it's important that we know these table manners and we conduct ourselves very professionally. So in case if something falls, on the table, make sure to clean the table before you leave. So if you have a tissue, maybe in the end you can wipe the area that you are eating, and put that food stuff on in the plate and clean the table. So this is in a nutshell about what we have discussed about the personal grooming part, that I thought as students, as doctors, it will help you now and also later on. So these are a couple of game, you can say. Social interaction is a game, and if you follow these golden rules, I'm sure you'll be able to make a good impression and good image among people. So one golden rule of etiquette that I would recommend to you is don't give the behavior that you don't like to receive. I think if you remember this, you will not ill-treat people, you'll not be rude, you will not be aggressive, you will not misbehave with people. This is something that will help us, clear on what we are supposed to be doing. So last slide is that you will never get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you know the right way of forming an impression, what all comes in forming the impression, you will be able to work on yourself. So I'll end the presentation here. Any questions now about whatever we have discussed? So I request all of you to have your camera on so that I can take a screenshot, and that will be more like a record of who I have attended. I can see a couple of you are not there, so they will have to check with Dr. Uditi about their attendance, or they'll have to attend the next session. So I can see 12, 13, 14 of you. 14, and Dr. Uditi, are you there? 15 of you, okay. So I'm taking a screenshot. You can smile and you can laugh and you can look good. देखो बहुत सारे लोगों को मुस्कुराना नहीं आ रहा है, कितना मुश्किल हो रहा है ना, कितना चैलेंजिंग हो रहा है मुस्कुराना. Okay, any questions, anything that you wish to ask or say? Was this session useful? Did you find it useful?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you think this was required, or this is just waste of time?
Required.
Required, ma'am. Required, ma'am.
So I'm sure a lot of things you must be doing and knowing already, because today kids are very smart, but you are getting into a professional role and responsibility. So a lot more professionalism is expected. And sometimes when we don't know the impact of not being able to form a good impression, we lose on that front. So that's the idea, that if we know the rules of the game, we can play the game well and succeed. So any questions, anything you wish to say or ask? So if I may ask you to write your feedback about both the sessions in the WhatsApp group right now. Can you do this in the WhatsApp group? Write your takeaway of today's session and feedback for both the sessions. Please go ahead and write in the WhatsApp group. Thank you, Hardik, for the compliment and the feedback that you have given. I think That's an important thing that we all must learn, to give the feedback in the right way. Again, see, everything makes a part of your good impression on others. Thank you, Dipesh. Thank you, Arpit. Thank you, Anshu. Thank you, Yugam. So once you have given your feedback, you can write done in the chat box so that I know who all have finished. Eight of you have written done. How about others? Still writing? So I think with this, we come to the end of the program. Wishing you all a very best of luck. Do well, do great, be a great human being, be a great doctor. Looking forward to seeing you all with, successful learning and being a successful doctor. Should we close it here?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you.